You know, there's been a lot of videos on YouTube about people going to jail here in the Philippines, people going to Bureau of Immigration detention. One blogger was in detention for about 4 months, and that's not prison. But today I want to talk to you about Bob. Bob contacted me by email, and I replied back, said, man, we need to talk about this. Bob retired in 2022. He came to the Philippines in June 2022, went to Cebu City to start his retirement here in the Philippines. He did his homework. It was his first time in the country. He had a good pension. He had a good savings. As I said, he was 63 years old and just ready to enjoy life. He settled into a condo near IT Park, was having a good time, meeting people, meeting girls, dating a little bit, just enjoying life like all of us want to when we come here to the Philippines. Back in August of 2023, he met a young lady named Kelly. And Kelly is 38 years old. She's a single mom, and she had a job. She worked in the IT Park area. Like most Filipino women, she was happy, she was responsible, she had a job. She also had a daughter, 10 years old, that lived in the province with her mom. They dated a while. He enjoyed her company, she enjoyed him. They decided to move in together. They moved into his studio condo apartment, and they enjoyed life together. They were having a good relationship. They were enjoying their life together here in the Philippines, up in Cebu City around IT Park. She went to work every day. He did what he did. And then at the end of the day, they got dinner together. They just had a good relationship and a good life together. Well, Bob got tired of Cebu. He got tired of Cebu. And back in January 2024, he told her, hey, let's move to Davao. Let's move to your hometown. And she liked that idea. Yeah, let me move back. He told her, you can quit your job. I'll take care of you. You know, we're getting along so well. We'll go get a condo in Davao. That's her hometown. A little town outside of Davao is her hometown. And that's what they did. They packed up their crap and they moved to Davao. And they moved her daughter in too. They got a 2-bedroom condo. It was a big upgrade from the studio. The daughter could get her own room. The two of them had their room, and they started having a very good life together, sort of a family life. You know, Bob was the head of the household. Kelly was the woman of the house. She took care of cleaning, cooking, all the domestic chores, took care of him, took care of the daughter. She did the bulk of the work. He did the bulk of the finances. Matter of fact, he handled all the finances. And the daughter's job was to go to school and do the best she can and get an education. All was well. All was well. But then came June of 2024. Bob decided, it's not the life for me, man. I don't like being tied down to one woman. I don't like this living together with a child. I want something different. I want to move on. I want to end this relationship. And him and Kelly started having arguments and discussions, and things just weren't going good. They started going south. And one day they had a big fight. They had a big blow up. Kelly left. She went to pick up her daughter from school, but she left early, wasn't going to be back for a few hours. And so Bob, what did he do? He did something you shouldn't do. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Republic Act 9262, the Anti-Violence Act against women and their children. And what Bob did, Bob took all her belongings, put them in bags, big trash bags, boxes, whatever he had. He also put the daughter's items, and he took them down to the reception area of the condo. And he showed the security in the condo, I have a lease. I am the only person on the lease. I am the only person who is allowed in the condominium. Kelly can no longer come in. Yes, sir. You know, what are they supposed to do? He went upstairs. He called the landlord and said, I'm going to change the locks. The landlord told him, you can change the locks. You have to give me a key. You cannot charge me. You have to pay for this. So he had the locks changed. Now, where I lived in a condo, I couldn't do that, but who knows? That's what he said he did. He had the locks changed. So now Kelly comes home. Kelly comes to the condo. She goes by the security guard. He stops her. You cannot go upstairs, ma'am. Now this, I have not talked to Kelly. I'm just going to assume this is everything that happened based on what Bob told me. So here's a young lady, 38 years old, coming home with her 10-year-old daughter after school and being told, you cannot go up to your home. You cannot go up to your apartment. You are no longer welcomed here. And security called the police. And being devout, they called the police showed up. Then the police called the Department of Social Welfare and Development Services. They came, and this is like social services, welfare. They came and sat with Kelly and the daughter to take her to a shelter, because that's where she ended up spending the night, at a shelter. The police went upstairs to talk to Bob. Bob says he got a knock on the door. He opened the door, and there was the police officer, and the officer spoke good English, thank God, good English to him, and said, sir, what is going on? Why can Miss Kelly not come up to the apartment? And he told him, he showed the officer he has a lease. He's the only one on the lease. He also told him that they broke up. He doesn't want her here anymore. He put all her belongings downstairs so she could pick up her belongings and go on her way. And the police officer said, are you sure that's what you want to do, sir? And he said, yes. And Bob thought that was the end of it. The officer left, he shut the door, and all is well. Well, Bob found out the next day when the police came. Knock on the door. This time, they arrested him. They had a warrant for his arrest. They took him down to the police department, and he had a warrant for the violation of the Republic Act 9262, the Anti-Violence Against Women and Children Act. And he was arrested. He spent 24 hours in jail. The next day, he got an attorney to show up, and he paid a bail, and he got out of jail, went back to his condo, and this is where the story goes now. Kelly ended up going to the shelter for the night. She went to a shelter where street people sleep. She went to a shelter where abandoned children are at. She went to a shelter that was totally unsafe, but it was the only place with a bed. We're talking about when she found out she didn't have a place to stay, it was 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. By the time the police come, who knows what time it is, 7, 8 o'clock. By the time she's in the shelter, it's already late at night. Kelly, humiliated, embarrassed, deprived of her residence, deprived of any financial support, deprived of everything. Bob had it all. Bob had the key to the condo. Bob had the money in the bank. Bob had the food in the refrigerator. Bob had the clothes on his back. He left Kelly with nothing but a bag with her clothes and her items in it, a couple bags, and with a 10-year-old daughter. So they filed the charges against them for, Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act. And he has the warrant. He has a court date in the future. And his attorney said he might go to jail. He might go to jail over this. If the judge finds against him and he is found guilty, he could spend time in jail and also prison, depending on how severe the judge handles this case. It's going to take a while to get to court. Things go slow here in the Philippines, but this is a very strict law. This act, it is a law here in the Philippines. Check my members only channel. I do a whole video on this, the Republic Act 9262. It'll be posted a day after this video goes up, but that is a very serious charge. It includes everything possible that a man or a woman can do to her spouse or his spouse. We have emotional distress, financial distress, psychological distress, many, many things it covers. And he humiliated Kelly by Kelly coming home and having all her stuff in a bag at the reception. He humiliated her by being locked out of the apartment or the condo. He humiliated her by having the police having to take her down to the DSWD, the social services place, for a shelter. All this is humiliating for a woman. When he first met her, she had a job in Cebu. When he first met her, she had a place to live. When he first met her, the daughter had a place to live. He took them away from all their comforts and said, hey, come live with me. I like you. I want you to live with me. I want you to bring your daughter and stay with me. He showed that act by moving from Cebu and moving her down to Davao to be closer with the daughter, having the daughter in the condo with them. Many months of them coming in and out of the condo as their home. Probably had that as an address at school as the address that the daughter lived at. Bob now has lawyer fees, he has his bond, he has a court date, he can't leave the country, he cannot get an exit clearance. He is in trouble here. He might go to jail, and he could go to jail and probably will either pay a big fine, pay restitution to Kelly, or have to spend time in prison or in jail. So, guys, let me know what you think of this. What a cowardly act on his part, but I can understand where a relationship falls apart. And what do? How do you break up in the Philippines? It is, it's not that easy. And the deeper you get into the relationship and the longer the relationship lasts, the harder and harder it is to break up. You have financial responsibilities. You have moral responsibilities. You have many emotional responsibilities. You have many, many things that you're responsible for. You're the man. You have the finances. You're a foreigner. You're a guest in this country. He's on a tourist visa. My God, like he got an easy out here. Not really. And everything's on her side because she is the victim in many ways. And the courts are going to look at this as a man who has means, a foreigner, taking advantage of a woman and a child and trying to control them financially and control them emotionally. And he's got a big price to pay here. Again, leave me a comment down below. What do you think is going to happen to Bob? Do you feel sorry for Bob? He could have handled this much better. This is the situation where I tell everybody, get out of Dodge. Bob should have left. Bob should have said, hey, this relationship's going nowhere. I'm going back to Cebu. Pay the rent for a few months. Pay the bills for a few months. Give her some money to get back on her feet. Help her get her daughter back to living with her mom. Help Kelly get back to finding a job either in Davao or back in Cebu. Get everybody back to where they were when he first met. And he would not have this problem now, because he took the easy way out. Let me just throw her out and lock the door. You can't do that, guys. You can't do that. You have responsibility to these people. You have responsibility in a relationship. Just like in the U.S., if you're with a wife or girlfriend and they're under your roof and you're supporting everything, when they go to court, you're going to have to leave them in the lifestyle they're accustomed to. Here in the Philippines, it is not the lifestyle they're accustomed to, but you can't leave them living in a shelter. So until next time, guys.